So with the news that McGregor will not be on UFC 300, all the fans have taken to social media and they're all trying to put together the pieces. Who could possibly be the main event of this card? What are the prelims going to be like? Is it going to be an absolute banger like we all think it is? But there's been an announcement. There was an announcement 2 days ago. Leon Edwards is confirmed to be defending his title in April at UFC 300. I thought this was a bit weird because I thought they would have saved him for the England card in maybe May. So that kind of draws my attention towards that might be taking place at the end of the year. And if the England card does happen in May, it's almost certain that Tom Aspinall will be fighting on it. Please don't be against Cyril Gane, by the way. He does not deserve another unlimited title shot chance. I just want to say this, folks. If it's Belal Muhammad, I do not want to see this fight as a main event, and even as a co-main event. When you look at a poster for 300, you want 3 fights on the poster. That'll be insane. But what I really think they should do for the poster, and the poster is a big part of it. I mean, people underestimate the power of a cool poster. When a poster looks unreal, it's like, yes. Have the 2 main fights, then have everyone else on the card under it. All the big names, Aljo, Kattar, Bo Nickel, everyone on it. And have it as like a war scene or with like 300 fireworks, and you could really make it cool. You know, it's kind of the concept poster designs for the UFC 5 game that everyone was making that looked incredible. People with their hands on the cage, stuff like this, and they just under-delivered. Please don't under-deliver. I mean, I could pay someone £50 to make an unreal poster. You know what I mean? Happy New Year, by the way, folks. And I just want to say this. Who's the main event going to be? I'm not sure. I think this is going to... I feel like it could be Gaethje. I don't know why, I've got a feeling that it could be Justin Gaethje versus someone like an Oliveira for the BMF belt. That's the only really excuse for a title fight you can put as the main event, but it's a bit of a piss take if the BMF belt is for the main event. It just doesn't make sense. It wouldn't make sense to have Gaethje main event, and I do want to see him on the card though. Justin Gaethje is waiting for a title shot, which is the issue. So that brings me to my next point. It could be Islam Makhachev headlining UFC 300, which does put at risk a bit of boredom for the fans in the main event. Islam has shown to be a bit more of a finisher than his cousin. However, before that, he didn't really finish fights. He's only been finishing fights more recently, and I do not want to see Islam as a headliner. Tom Aspinall versus Pereira is a great one as well. Tom Aspinall does not have the name value though, that's the issue. Israel Adesanya, I would love for him to be back in April, but I think they're going to put him on the McGregor card in June. That would make the most sense, guys. Imagine McGregor Chandler with Izzy and Hamzat as the co-main. That's perfect. That's an ideal card for International Fight Week. That's a massive fight card. And you wouldn't have to pay out both guys' pay-per-view points because, first of all, Izzy doesn't have the belt, and McGregor, well, he would get pay-per-view points, obviously. And massive fights, by the way. Very high risky fights for Izzy and Conor, which would just make the card even bigger. But we're here to talk about UFC 300, and I really do not know what they're going to do. I want to see Diaz come back, bring the Diaz brothers back. There's all these fantasy cards going around, and realistically, they've got Calvin Kattar and Aljo, right? Aljo's just fought for the belt. He's moving up against Calvin Kattar. That should headline the prelims. Bo Nickel should be the first fight of the night. Aljo should headline the prelims, and the main card should be absolutely stacked. I think Dustin Poirier 100% will be back. Jim Miller will be back. I want Jim Miller to be the second fight of the night. I don't know if you can hear the fireworks in the background. If you guys can, I'm really sorry. Guys, this card needs to be spectacular. I'm hoping Dustin Poirier, thinking Dustin Poirier, I don't know who against who. Oliveira versus Poirier 2. That'd be a great one for the main card. It doesn't necessarily need to be made, but Poirier had him in some trouble, you know. So that's a great one. That's a great one for April. It's perfect time of the year for Poirier to come back after being knocked out last year, or not last year. Well, technically last year now, it's after New Year. And yeah, I think Gaethje's setting out for a title shot, so I don't think he'll be too bothered unless they put him as the main event of UFC 300. Now, to me, the main event doesn't necessarily matter as long as it's not Leon Edwards versus Belal Muhammad, because that's essentially a fight that we all know is going to be made, because you can't really justify anyone else getting a title shot. If that's the main event, I can't say the words on camera, but I would genuinely and be gone forever. And that's just the truth about it. If they make that the main event, I will laugh my head off at the same time, but that would break the internet. It's definitely not going to happen. So you need a title fight above it. And for some reason, I'm thinking they're going to stack it with Poirier on the undercard, you know. But guys, this is the thing. Oliveira on UFC 300 would be perfect against someone like Gamrot, someone like that. That'd be perfect. Beneil Dariush versus Dustin Poirier, UFC 300. That would be perfect as well, all in the main card. That would be a great fight. I think Dustin Poirier would showcase his skills very well, get back in the winning ways. He's a big star. Only issue is, I do believe Poirier now gets a percentage of the pay-per-views. I don't think that's going to matter, you know, and I've been saying for months there's no chance McGregor's going to be on 300. It's just kind of nice to have it confirmed now. Leon Edwards, Belal Muhammad. I mean, if it's Shavkat Rakhmonov, Leon Edwards is not a bad co-main event, but I know Shavkat's ankle's hurt. But guys, it's a tough one. Colby Covington would be a good one to have on 300 against Ian Gary. I think the reason that they moved Ian Gary from the March pay-per-view to the February one was to see maybe he'll get a quick turnaround 8 weeks later, fight on 300 against Colby Covington. I think that's a fantastic fight. But yeah, Gilbert Burns for the UFC 300, that's a great idea as well. But guys, I'm really struggling to rack my brain for just big fights. Diaz would be a great fight. Diaz versus Poirier, I think, is what they would go for. Two massive names, both have fought McGregor, both have beat McGregor. It would be a great fight for McGregor towards the end of the year, the winner of Poirier Diaz. I think that's what they're going to go for, if they can get Diaz back in there by April. Obviously, with the non-inclusion of USADA now, Diaz probably could enter the pool and be able to fight in April. However, I don't know. We'll have to see. And that fight would be at 170 as well. It would be cool to see Poirier at 170. Also means if Oliveira and Gamrot or someone fights on the main card, it would not clog up the main card with just lightweight fights, regardless of them all being lightweights, you know. And for the main event, I'm stumped. I'm absolutely stumped. But I can tell you one man who will definitely be on UFC 300, and that is Max Holloway. I can guarantee you they put him on UFC 300. And that would be incredible. Holloway versus, I don't know who would Holloway versus, I mean, they can't do him against Ortega, they can't do him against Rodriguez, because they're fighting in February. It must be a lightweight fight. Holloway Diaz, Holloway versus Oliveira, that would be incredible for the main card. By the way, I'm one of the biggest Max Holloway fans on the planet. I absolutely love him to pieces, so that would just be absolutely amazing. Holloway versus Oliveira 2 would be incredible. There's a storyline there. But Max Holloway has to be on the card because he's a big name in MMA. He brings exciting fights. On the same card as Aljo versus Kattar, which is also a great fight, by the way. I think that's going to be a really good fight. I'm actually kind of tempted to pick Aljo because say whatever you want about Calvin Kattar, his boxing is not as good as people think. Yeah, maybe when he's coming forward, he throws one strike at a time, but his movement is, I don't rate Calvin Kattar that highly. Obviously, he's phenomenal. His knockout of Jeremy Stephens was incredible, but before that, Stephens was breaking his nose, battering him a little bit. His fight against Zabit was good, but the only real reason he kind of was taken over towards the end was because Zabit got tired. And I think the fact that Aljo's just lost, the fans, if he comes back and gets a win, the fans will be like, okay, you know what, fair play to him. He's lost the belt now, there's no reason for us to hate him anymore. Tell me your thoughts. Who would Max Holloway go against? I mean, Holloway Poirier 3 would be unbelievable. I would not like Holloway's chances in that, but maybe I would. I think Holloway should stick to featherweight. But the top 5 of the featherweight division is kind of clogged at the moment. Holloway versus Josh Emmett would be a really fun one for April. Keeps Holloway busy because he's been out for a little while now. He's been out for 4 months. Can't wait. I can't wait. Arnold Allen, chuck him on the prelims against someone. I think Josh Emmett Holloway would be a good one. Bryce Mitchell versus Arnold Allen's a really good one to do next. not necessarily on 300, I'm just kind of brainstorming fights here. And I mean, you see all these dream card builders, I mean, it's incredible. I mean, if Aljo's headlining the prelim, I know they've got something in their pocket, but I just don't know what title fight they're going to put above Edwards and Belal. You can't have Leon Edwards headlining the biggest event in UFC history. Like, realistically, that's not a good idea. I think they're going to have to pull something out of the bag. An interim belt would be, I think an interim lightweight belt between Gaethje and Holloway, that would be cool. I think that would be, I kind of feel like that's what they're going to do, an interim belt between Holloway and Gaethje, which would be just insane. I feel like they could just do something random out the hat like that. Tom Aspinall as well, and I don't know if any women fights will be on the card. I actually hope not. You don't want to ruin the card. God, I can't wait, folks. Give me all your thoughts down below, potential fights. I will see you all very soon. Thank you. I want Holloway versus Oliveira, UFC 300, co-main event for the interim lightweight belt, or Gaethje Oliveira 2 for the interim belt. That's perfect. And you could top that, but I mean, I don't want Justin Gaethje headlining 300. I don't want Islam headlining 300. I don't know who I want to headline UFC 300. I mean, it doesn't really make much sense for anybody other than McGregor too, because he's the biggest star. But obviously, I made a video on the whole McGregor Chandler situation and whatever. Thank you, folks. Can't wait.